Now, I know when I was going through certain things in my life, I had questions. I was like, why? What did I do to deserve to lose Lucas? What did I do to deserve this situation that came into my life? And that's normally one of the first things that we always ask. Why? Why do I have to deal with this? Why did I get this burden? Now, for those of you who've stuck around and have watched my videos, I just wanted to get real and raw with you today. I wanted to tell you my story about what I went through, how I overcame it, and just different tactics that I've used to enjoy my life again, despite losing Lucas. Now, this is Lucas here. He's my little guy. We lost him at 16 months old after a battle of cancer. And it drove me into a deep depression, got diagnosed with PTSD. And I really wanted to just, once I overcame that, it gave me a drive. It gave me a passion to help you, my friends, to really put myself out there and be vulnerable with you and just to share my story. So that's what I want to do today. I want to share with you my story. In the beginning, you ask yourself questions like, why? Why did this happen to me? Why did I become this person through this situation? And oftentimes, we never know the answer. I don't know why I lost Lucas. I don't know why I had this struggle. And it took me years to figure it out on my own and to try to define this for myself. And the best way that I did was you. You are the reason why I had to go through what I went through. Because now my passion is to create PTSD advocates to squash the pandemic of PTSD. And that could only have been done if I had lost Lucas. There's always a bigger picture. There's always something bigger going on in this world. And sometimes we have to create that purpose. Sometimes we have to create that meaning, which is what I had to do. Because losing a son, losing something precious, you can't create meaning from that right away. You get lost in it. You don't have that understanding of why this happened. And you might never will. So stick with me to the end because I want to give you some of the biggest clues that I used. Some of the biggest things that I was able to transform my life after going through depression, PTSD, and living a life fulfilled. I know that some of you might be like, okay, let's skip to the end. Let's go fast forward. But for those of you who don't, hit that subscribe button and hit that bell so you're notified every time that I have a video come on. They won't all be on deep like this, but I just wanted to share my story and let you understand where I'm coming from. So hit that subscribe button and the bell and be notified when I go live. So let me get down to the nitty gritty of the story. What really happened? Well, Lucas was born like every other kid. He was healthy. He was born July 8th, and we enjoyed the first 6 to 8 months with him. No issues, nothing going on. And then he developed a little bump on the back of his neck. And we're like, what is this? So I ended up taking him to the doctors. And the doctor at first was like, oh, it's just a cyst. Something that's, it's fine. Okay? But the way cancer works is it goes from 1 cell to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 8, and just keeps multiplying itself. And this bump was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So we took him back, and the doctor's like, okay, well, let me look at it. I'm going to call some people, and we'll get back to you. And then after about a week, we finally get a phone call that's like, why have you not shown up at Children's Hospital? We're like, for what? And they're like, you need to come down here, and we need to talk about Lucas. And obviously that put me and my wife in an interesting state, wondering what was going on, why we were dealing with that. So we went down to Children's Hospital, and they informed us that he had a rare form of cancer called rhabdomyosarcoma, and it wasn't an easily treatable cancer, but it was a cancer that we had some options. So they do a scan, and they found basically a tennis ball size cancer in his stomach, in his abdomen area. And they're like, okay, we're going to start doing chemo treatment for him, and we're going to start doing this plan. It was a very intense plan. For about a year, we were at the hospital at least 2 to 3 times a month, which was basically an hour to get there, an hour to get home from where we lived. Some treatments were one-day treatments where we'd be there for one day. Some treatments were a week long where we'd have a 5-day treatment where we'd be in the hospital. Some were 3 days. And this kind of went on for 12 months. And on September 9th, we did a PET scan, which scans for all those any cancer cells. It's like a big sugar, I believe it's a sugar test that they do. And Lucas was clear. He had no cancer in him. So at that point, I was working for corrections. I had some training that I was going off to do. So I left. And I left, it was a 2-week base training, Monday to Friday, come home on the weekend, leave again. And this was in October of 2010. And so we did this. I did my first week of training, came home, played with Lucas. He seemed fine, seemed like things were going well. Went back on Monday for my second week of training. And on Thursday of that week, I got a call from Christina, or who called my TL at the time, my team leader, that I needed to call her right away. And I got broken up during my training, went and called her, and she informed me that Lucas had full-on brain cancer and he was going to die. It was tough. It was tough knowing that he was gonna die. So we went to. I went out to Children's Hospital. I was told by the doctors that this happen and can go into the brain. It can be detected, and it can. Sometimes they don't see it. So we got shipped up to, I live in Vancouver, we got shipped up to Canucks Place, where we spent a few days there. I think it was about 4 days. He was attached to, he had a tube in his chest. That's how he got his medication. And they attached some morphine to that. And anytime we felt he needed morphine, we pressed a big red button. And that created him to be relaxed. Now we did that for a few days while we all said our goodbyes. And then, and then he passed away in the morning. So it was tough. At that point, I didn't know what to do. We asked those questions, why? Why does this happen? Why did I go through something like this? And I'll never know. I make my own purpose, like I've said. I've created my purpose to help you. But I never really know why I went through that. Like honest, like deep why. Unless you create it for yourself. So that was the transition in my life. That was that transformation point. That was like, it's time, my life has to shift. Now once that happened, I went through a very bad spiral. I went to a place where I didn't want to live anymore. I definitely had suicidal thoughts. Fully depressed. Went to a doctor, got diagnosed with PTSD. Went to a counselor a couple times, but I've been doing personal development prior, and everything I knew what I needed to do was what the counselor was telling me. So I only lasted a few sessions at my counselor appointment because they were just telling me everything I knew. I knew. And most of the time is we do know. We know what they're going to tell us to do. It's that push. It's the action. That's why people have counseling. That's why people go to coaching. It's that push that we need to that we want. And once I was at a point, I just didn't want to work. I had people supporting me there. Great place, great support. And that's how my life went for at least a year, if not more. I was in maybe about 6 months after he died. I was working and I had to perform CPR on an inmate that had passed away, and that sent me down another spiral. And I had to change. I had to be on purpose, and I had to make those changes for my life. So I want to dive into a little bit into what I did to make those changes and how I move forward. Now, for me, it all began with self-awareness, right? Everything has to begin with self-awareness. You have to realize that you need to be in a point to change. You have to realize that you want to change, because that's the only way it's going to come. If you're ready and you're like, I got to change. I can't live like this. Either I'm going to move up or I can't do this anymore. And I've never been a person that's really wanted to die. I don't think a lot of people do, right? Like people that commit suicide, that from my standpoint, from what I think, they just want the pain to go away. And I got to a point where I just wanted the pain to go away. And I had to go. I had to move up. At that point, my wife and I she was already pregnant with our second baby, because we knew that we wanted kids. And we knew that if we waited until we were ready, we might never have kids. And that was when Caleb was born. He was born in September of the next year. And then Kessler, our next, was born December of the next year. So they're about 15 months apart, and they're like 10 and 9 now. So we've been able to overcome certain situations, certain obstacles, right? They surpassed Lucas, his age, his abilities, his walking. But it's a daily reminder of needing to live fulfilled. And Lucas reminds me a lot of how I should be living my life. That I shouldn't take anything for granted, because you don't know when it's going to end. So when I brought self-awareness into my life and I said it's time for me to change, it's time for me to figure this out, that's when, God, is what I believe, put the image of people suffering with PTSD in my head. And I'm like, okay, how do I help them? What can I do? And that's when I began to create my courses. I've been writing a book, and I do these podcasts and YouTubes, and I'm starting to kind of evolve a little bit to really help people get their life back, because there's got to be meaning, and we have to sometimes create that meaning. Now, the second thing I had to do is really begin to plan my life. I had to be on purpose with it. I had to go, okay, what do I want this to look like? What are all the areas of my life that I want to create and have that life that I want? My relationship. How did I want me and my wife to develop? My spirituality, my finances, my health, my work. What did I want to do with that? And these are all different areas that I needed to plan. I needed to get creative, because I couldn't get stuck in that trauma. I couldn't get stuck in the past, and that's what had happened. So my friends, if you build the future, you begin to build the hope, right? If you can't find hope, create it, right? That's what you have to do sometimes. And then the third thing I had to do was just fill my head with positive things. I had to get out of that negative mindset that says, I'm a failure, I'm not good enough, I can't do this with my life, and actually create that life that I wanted. And I began to do personal development. I began to read more. I began to listen to podcasts that I enjoy. I began to listen to more upbeat music, and just really change the things that I filled my head. Stop watching the news. Just began to fill my head with all these positive things. And that began to change my life. It began to put me in a more positive mood. And then one of the other things I did was I started to work out. I started to exercise, go for walks, do meditation, do prayers, go to the gym, things like that. That really would help to transform that and get me out of the state, because you have to change the environment. You have to become a different person if that's where you want to go. If you stay in the same place that you're at now, you're going to be the same person. If you want to create that person that you want to create, you have to change who you are, and you have to change your environment. You know, my wife and I, we began traveling with our kids. I changed my job, she changed her jobs, and we just really wanted to take back control of our lives, and that's what we did. But we had to be on purpose. And then one of the last and most important things I did was seek help when I needed it, right? Like I said, I didn't go to counseling. I did that because I knew, or I felt I knew, but I needed someone that was going to push me. And I had friends out there. I had my wife. I had different people that were going to push me to a better height than where I'd been. And this is what I'm trying to do with you, my friends. I want to push you past where you think you're stuck. Because the only reason you're stuck is because you're limiting that. And you're believing that you're stuck, right? Belief is the first step in healing. When you can believe that you can heal, when you believe that you can get past that, that's when your life's going to shift. That's when you're going to change. So my friends, I wanted to tell you this. I wanted to give you this story. One of the biggest things that I found in my life was to be more positive and plan out my life. And I want you to comment below and just say, yeah, that's something that I need to do. Or, well, I don't know if that'll work with me. I'm going to try this other thing. Because, like I said, we're all advocates. We're all trying to help each other. We're turning our mess into our message. So what is some advice that you could give some other people? I'll put some advice in, obviously, in the comments. I want you to put some advice in the comments. Tell people what they could do, what you've done to grow past it, so that we're working together to squash this pandemic of PTSD. And if you've liked this video, please hit the like button. Or if you haven't, hit the not like button, right? It's all about growth, right? And I'm going to grow regardless of which way you tell me, right? If you say that you didn't like this, put in the comment why. And then I'll know, okay, what can I do to transform? Maybe I was boring. Maybe I was too real, right? Brought up some things for you. Who knows? But let me know, right? Because that's the way I can engage. Because like I said, this is my purpose. It's my purpose to help you get through your PTSD, to create advocates to help other people. And that's really it for me today. I wanted to get raw. I wanted to talk about my little guy and just share with you who I am. Now, I hope that you did spend some time, you do enjoy this, and you do subscribe, because I want to be there for you. So remember, I love you all, and there's nothing you can do about it.